Everybody, it's Jane Johnston with the Bar Hill Group at Remax Coast, host of Vancouver Island Time and Community Talks Daily at 4:30. I'm here with Peter de Bruyn. He is with Bruyn Restaurant Consulting. Welcome, Peter.
Hi. Thank you for having me, Jane.
So, are you at home right now?
I am.
I'm at home too. So, and have you managed to be able to work from home?
I have, yeah. For the last few years as a consultant, I can do my work at home or work remotely or work at a restaurant or wherever.
So you are a restaurant consultant. What does that entail exactly?
That entails basically whatever anybody needs. Questions and answer, and it's every day is different. Every issue is different, and it's a matter of finding solutions and working with people to figure those solutions out.
So do people come to you if their business is failing, or perhaps they want to change their menu, or do they come if they want to change the design of their restaurant? Like how do you work with owners? Is it mostly menu and or is it production from beginning to end sort of thing?
Yeah, it could be operational layout, production, hiring, structure of the kitchen, who's working, who's doing what roles, sort of maximizing, basically working out the income statement and finding holes and finding ways to save money and streamline the operation. So I'd say everything's worked out to be very operational rather than, say, creating menus. It's the chefs and the business owners that would they have their ideas. I can help steer them a little bit to make sure that the menu sounds good or the pricing is correct or the costing is great, but they'll come up with the recipes and so on.
Awesome. So one of the reasons why we wanted to have you today was because you're the chairman of the BC Restaurant Food Services Association. So I'm just wondering, first of all, what is the purview of the association and what is your role exactly?
Very good. That's a good question. I've tried to figure that out daily too. So the BCRFA has a Victoria chapter and a provincial chapter. So I just happen to be the chairman of both. And Victoria runs the Dine Around event that we just had last January before in the old world, I'll say. And BCRFA Provincial is really the body that represents, it's a membership-driven organization that advocates for industry to government, and we have a CEO and an outreach team, and we try to find inventive ways to build business for restaurants and advocate on their behalf.
So, I mean, thank goodness that food services has been declared essential. And I think people were pretty quick to get on the bandwagon of ordering local. I know that I was promoting, what is it called, Tuesday takeout. So do you guys also promote things like that with your owners? Have you been working on stuff like that? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. There's so many companies out there that are promoting the delivery, so we're steering them in the right direction. I think, again, BCRFA is very operational and business focused. And so when, it was essential. However, restaurants were ordered to close back in March, on March 20th, actually. That was the D-Day.
So was that just the dine-in portion or the whole? I don't remember them ever being closed. Were they actually officially closed?
They were officially ordered to close for dine-in service. So that's what led to adjusting business models for takeout, to be really creative on that, to be takeout, pickup. Many restaurants also went they offer more things like groceries. Back in the toilet paper days, you could even order toilet paper or a jug of milk, and some of those essentials that weren't even available. So, and many did that.
So what? Pardon?
sorry, you could buy a flat of eggs or steaks or whatnot. So it was really innovative. But at a time when you couldn't have dine-in seats, I think restaurants do a great job of trying to capture that, what is available to them. How can they grab some sales? Whether it's 20% of what they were doing, but it's 20% more than being entirely shut.
Right. And so what percentage of restaurants you find are going to recover from this? Are you able to even ascertain a number like that right now?
It's hard to say, and I don't like to necessarily talk about how many are going to go under. I think there definitely will be some, and that's why I think, I'm proud to be a part of the Restaurant Association, because we're trying so hard to make sure that none go under, and make it the forefront issue to government that there are these businesses that they need business or they need support until that restriction, until that order to close is lifted, and you can actually operate your business again.
So now there's been a little bit of easing on what's going on in restaurants, and they're allowing dine-in, obviously at a much lower rate or lower density. How are you helping restaurant owners with that?
Well, I have a long answer.
Okay. I like detail.
So during the closure, we as a team at BCRFA knew that restaurants were only going to be closed for so long. So we thought we'd grab a panel of probably about the 60 of the best operators. Not the best. There's hundreds, thousands of great operators in this province, but some of the leaders anyway, and create a task force on how it would look like to reopen industry to dining in. And so we had several calls and committees, and created a blueprint for restaurants to reopen, which we sent to everybody in government that was relevant. And WorkSafe ultimately used that as the blueprint for restaurants to follow to reopen. And so I think that was well received, and with all those guidelines out there, it's made it easier for operators to open. You can imagine running your business, and I mean, it's a sea of information on the web, and I think BCRFA has tried to make it very easy for an operator to go look at the resources. They know if you're an employee, go to these resources. If you're an employer, go to these resources, and there they are. And I know our team is working, countless hours to support restaurants, to answer questions, and so on.
So are the people on your task force from throughout BC?
Throughout BC, and even further, some are large companies across Canada.
Oh, like food providers and essential food. Yeah. So what are the resources actually that are available to restaurants?
So we took the blueprint, and we have it's actually on our website. So the BCRFA.com website. We have how to market your business during the time of COVID, back of house practices, front of house practices, and beverage service, and then a whole plethora of checklists and so on that businesses or restaurants can post to show that they're following certain guidelines, for not only employee confidence but also consumer confidence. So consumers can come in and go, okay, well, these guys have protocols in place, and they feel safe eating there.
I'm going to just share a screen. So
Okay.
let me just see. And so, hold on one second. So this is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, so just go to the top banner. There's a blue banner, and that'll take you to all the resources. And it shows uh, that was actually the top is a download. It was a webinar we did.
Oh,
We've
right.
done a lot of webinars. And as you scroll down the page, there's all the resources to download.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, it's open twice. Okay, gotcha. So down here, marketing guide. And so are you getting more people who are signing in now and joining up with you guys? Because it's voluntary, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's interesting because we're a membership driven organization, and but this pandemic just hit everybody. And so, I mean, we took it upon ourselves to just advocate for all restaurants. And so, but from that, all these resources are available to all restaurants. And I think it's just important at this point. And our team, we just think it's important that all restaurants have this information. Um, so it builds that confidence from consumers who are patronizing restaurants, and from the employees. The employees are number one. I think everybody, you know, it's all about the employees, and without them, we couldn't have an industry.
So one of the things I've been wondering about is just the waste that's being created as a result of COVID-19. Like today, we were talking to somebody in a different industry. It was in the optometric industry, but just like, and actually somebody in the restaurant industry, they're throwing out their menus every day, which
Right.
to me seems a bit extreme. Could you not just isolate the menu for, till next week or whatever? Or are you telling people are you controlling where what is happening exactly in the restaurant all the time?
Well, we give best practices and recommendations on how they should run their business. So there's no say enforcement. Um, there are procedures in there for single-use menus, and there's procedures in there for restaurants to sanitize their menus after each use. And as well, there's encouragement for people to go online and just look at the menu from the restaurant online. So, maybe in the 90s, there were single-use menus that were discarded each day, or feature sheets. I mean, I remember hundreds of those going in the recycling daily.
Yeah.
And it might be the easiest for the consumers to look at the menu online and use that as a platform.
Right.
If you're uncomfortable holding a menu.
Right. They could order off their phone even, right?
Yeah, that there is that technology out there if a place has used that. Yeah.
So things like this, the social distancing decals that you guys have developed, was that something? I mean, that's a really good idea. Is this something you guys just came up with off the top of your head? Who comes up with this?
Yeah, this really all came from a task force and our team. These decals are actually in a format where a restaurant can simply download it, send it to their printer, and they could have a floor decal which they could put on the ground, and so it's really easy to use.
And so I'm going to just stop screen sharing.
Okay.
Sorry. Are you finding now, what do you think is going to happen over the next 6 months? Like, I'm thinking that what's happening is in terms of real estate, we're going to see a bit of a bump and a lot of activity, and then things are going to quieten down in the fall. I expect, if there is another recurrence of COVID-19. Are you guys anticipating that as well?
Well, I think we're still in a mode of we've just opened. Most restaurants are just reopening right now. Many didn't just open right on whatever the date was on the 19th of March, or what that date was, but many are opening this week, next week, right into June. And I think there's just hope that there's a bit of that local, even local tourism once it opens up, that restaurants can capitalize on a bit more volume based on no volume forecasted a few months ago. Looking 6 months out is probably too far. Looking out a month right now is probably the most that anybody really can do, maybe 2. But to look at 6 months, I think it's almost impossible. We don't.
Yeah.
We just hope that there's no increase in COVID counts in the province, and with that, there'll be more confidence for people to go out. And with all the protocols, hopefully we can just see that increase in traffic to restaurants. Once it opens up, maybe if there's a phase 3 or 4 as we get there, and there's going to be definitely a pent up demand to go to patios, to go. You only want to cook your own food for so long before you enjoy restaurant food, or you go on a small day trip, which is hopefully will be acceptable, and you can enjoy some local restaurants in that area.
Yeah, or eat out outside. I think that they really have to take advantage of the next few months to promote themselves, and there's going to be a limited market about, to me, it's all cash flow right now. That's going to be the issue, whether or not people survive or not. So you just got to go and grab the biggest piece of the pie. Suzanne Gatrell is saying, so good to hear Peter and his expertise in this field. What is the overall sense of morale from the owners and teams at the current time?
That's a good question. I think morale is good because there's a confident reopening plan. I think there's employees that are definitely speculative over coming back. I think once they see a good operator and the protocols are in place, I think that confidence will build pretty quickly. And I think as the government and we see decreases in daily COVID counts, I think that'll just continue to bring confidence. It's not only consumer confidence that are people going to the restaurants, it's employee confidence. And I think it's hand in hand.
Are restaurants still using PPE, or do they have that sort of requirement in place where they have to?
That was hours of discussion. So yes, some have mandated it, some haven't. It really depends on the venue, and are you comfortable eating in a place with people with masks and face shields coming up to you or not? Whereas the contact time is very, very limited. However, there are some mandates and suggestions as well for back of house or dishwashers that are working with potentially soiled dishes just to protect themselves, of course. But again, it's best practices. It's not a mandate from BCRFA. It's best practices, and then the health inspectors will police the restaurants.
So do you think this is going to change the industry as a whole? Are we going to be moving more towards possibly more takeout in the future, and maybe change the way that businesses are working? Because I know, for instance, 900 Degrees went from all dine-in to now totally takeout, and I don't know if he's opening up again, but what do you find?
Well,
you're the pro.
Yeah, takeout has been one of the biggest growth markets for years now. Double-digit growth yearly through the United States, through Canada, and right now I think this pandemic has just increased takeout even more. I can't see it slowing down. Depending on how bylaws change, or if people can take, wouldn't it be great to grab burgers and your liquor from a restaurant and be able to sit in a park in a zoned area? That would be the utopian dream here. So I can only see it increasing. Absolutely.
Okay, and so in terms of you and your own consulting business, How are you working with people right now? Are you actually going into their restaurants and helping them out, or are you consulting over the phone?
I haven't gone anywhere. It's all over the phone right now.
Are you using Zoom?
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you finding like, so people are quick to pivot now, they're listening, or was there a bit of
Yeah.
reticence at the beginning?
There was definitely some. Some didn't do any takeout whatsoever if their business didn't allow it. I think I haven't really done a lot of work because a lot of restaurants are closed, and as far as consulting work, and it's really a matter of conserve your cash because you have bills to pay, and so there's a lot of free advice, and I think through BCRFA that was just a better use of time to focus on businesses to give them advice on how to proceed.
Okay. So let's just talk pizza here because it's one of my favorite subjects. Thin crust or thick?
Thin crust.
White or red sauce?
I actually prefer olive oil. I know that's not the options that they gave me.
Wow, on outside. Okay, and what are your favorite toppings?
Well, a local sort of charcuterie pepperoni or something, or a sausage is generally what I look at. If there's goat cheese or caramelized onions, that kind of those kind of toppings.
Awesome.
Mushrooms are always a hit.
Mushrooms?
Yeah.
Local.
Local.
Okay. Favorite restaurant for pizza right now?
Prima Strada.
Cook Street Village?
I'm actually closer to the Fort Street, but Cook Street Village was definitely a great one. I used to frequent that when it first opened. Yeah, lovely place. Right-ups.
Burger place in Victoria, favorite?
A couple. The kids love Big Wheel Burger, which we go to, and the Hive actually on Fairfield.
Oh,
Nice little place, very small business, independently owned, and outstanding burgers there.
where is that? Fairfield?
Fairfield and Moss. Used to be a fish and chip shop,
Oh,
small
okay.
place,
Yeah.
and it looks like they're well designed because the whole building is a kitchen, and you just order at the counter or call ahead and then show up, pay, and pick up your food.
Okay, well, I'm a bin 4 gal myself.
Yep.
No bun, love the salad.
Nice.
All right. Anything else you want to end with today, Peter?
We covered, I think, most of the main things. I really appreciate the time, and I hope whoever watches this, will see sort of the effort and work that BC Restaurant and Food Service Association has done to out there for all restaurants, really. Yeah.
So you guys, if you're interested in joining, if you're in the food industry, you can get in touch with BCRFA at bcrfsa.ca, right?
BCRFA, so BC Restaurant Food and Food Service Association, bcrfa.com.
Okay. And if you want to get in touch with Peter and revamp your business, contact Peter de Bruyn Consulting at 250-514-3614 or at peter@debrunconsulting.com. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate the time. And thank goodness for people like you who help everybody else out there. I think you are an essential service. So thank you again.
Thank you. Very kind, Jane. I appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. Stay tuned on Monday. We're going to have some more talk with Ann Squires first, and she's going to be talking to us about commercial. I'm very interested in this because I think the way that we're designing our commercial space is going to be changing with COVID-19. So we'll chat with her about that. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday at 4:30. Bye.
Take care.